Hello everyone. So today we are going to learn how to use Linux environment variables. As you know, in operating systems, different users can use a single operating system or a single computer. So when different users use such a machine in different ways, there are preferences that each user choose to use in the operating system. So in that case, we need some kind of variables to store different user specific data. So that's why we use environment variables. So for example, let's assume there are three users using a single machine. User 1 may be using Nano Editor with Chrome browser. Maybe the user 2 will use Vim Editor with Firefox. 3 will use gedit and Opera browser. Hope you got the idea. So why we use these environmental variables? Because operating system stored information store information about environment. Also users can create their own environment variables for different purposes, like maybe they want to store some application specific data. So why we create our own environmental variable? Because applications use sensitive data such as database names, database usernames, password, like those things. Also we can make our applications more flexible. So it's time to get our hands dirty. So first we are going to talk about how to list all the environmental variables. For that we can use print env command, and it will list out all the environment variables like here. As you can see, it outputs your address for shell stored in an environmental variable, also the name, also the directory for pwd, your home directory stored in an environment variable, your language preferences stored in an environmental variable, and the user, things like that. Also you can use print env command in combined with less command to view it in a different way like this. Also to print specific environmental variables, we can use print env with the variable's name. So to get the value test out, we can use the variable name user. Let's type user, all capitals, and it will output test, right? Let's say you want to get the language information, we need to type lang, print env lang, and it will output language details like that. So what if you want to search for environment variables with the grep command, right? A pipe and grep and your keywords like this. It will show us all the environmental variables with the user keyword involved. We can see there are two here. Also, if you are referencing environment variables in your bash script or something in some kind of environment, you need to use the dollar sign with its name. Dollar sign and let's say user. So if you want to output the user's value, we can use echo and dollar user, and it will output its value again. Like that, we can use echo dollar lang will output language information. So how can we create environmental variables? For that, we can use the export command and then give a specific name like all capitals. Let's give database name and equals a specific value like database name and press enter. We can give the database name like this and it will accept. Let's create several environmental variables like that. Let's say database user user one, let's say database password, and now we can use print env with grep command and search for database keyword, and now you can see our details are stored as environmental variables that we created earlier, right? We can print their names like database name with the echo command, and it will output the assigned name by us, this one. So what if you want to rename or reassign a new value to existing variable, right? Just use export command with the variable name. Let's say database name again, and assign it a new value like db3, and then if we echo database name again, now it has assigned the new value for this value. Let's choose another example, database user 4, and if we use the grep command, you can see all the new values are replaced with the new values. So what if you want to delete an environmental variable that you created? You can use the unset command for that, and the name of the variable, let's say database name, and that's it. Now again we can use the printenv command with the grep, and you can see database name is gone from our environmental variables. But there's a thing that if we close our existing terminal, it will remove all the variables that we created here like this. Now I'm going to close my terminal session and start it again. So as you can see, now I have typed the printenv command again for database, and you can see there are no results because this current terminal session stores these environment variables we created, and it will remove them once we close the terminal session. So what if we want to keep those environmental variables permanently, right? So for that, we need to use these environmental variables inside our bash rc file, which is a file that stores these kind of things. So it is located in our home directory, so you need to move to the home directory if you are not in the home directory, and you can view it with nano or vim editor or any kind of editor. You can access that file like nano.bashrc, and you can see this is the file. It has several details, values that has saved. To create new variables for us, we can go to the bottom by pressing the down arrow on our keyboard and go to the end of the file, and we can use our export command and create our new environment variables. Now we can create database name again and assign value db1, then user again, and password again, And to save with in nano editor we can press Ctrl S and it will save, and we can press Ctrl X to exit. Now if we run our printenv with grep, it will not output because this bash rc file is not refreshed inside the operating system. So for that we need to use the source command. Source dot bash rc command will tell the operating system to load the bash rc file again, and then if we run, you can see all the variables are here. Okay, now we can close our terminal session again. So if we run our grep command again, as you can see, even after the terminal session is closed, we can see our environmental variable details, right? So as you know by now, this bash rc file is stored inside our home directory. So what if we want to store some kind of environmental variables as system wide, right? So what if we want to create system wide environmental variable? How to do that? There's a file in /etc folder, and it will have all the system wide environmental variables stored. Like, it is not a file of variables, but it is a file of variable paths. You can see path equals a value, and a colon will separate another value, and a colon will separate another value, right? This is like we are storing, or when you install Java or Python on your Windows computer, you have to set the environmental variable path, right? This is that environmental variable path we use in our Windows computers. So we are not going to edit this one here. Instead, we can press Ctrl X to exit, and we can use some other way to add our commands or environmental variables to this path. Okay, so if this is not working, like this path is not working, we can access that path like this echo dollar path, and it will output the value saved inside that string separated by columns, right? So this is pointing out to all the commands we use, like we use ls minus l, right? If this ls minus l location is not stored within this string, we would have to use the ls minus l command like this with the location for the command, like ls. Okay, let's create ourselves a command, right? Then let's see how we can use it. For that, we can use our editor and type a file name. So my command or a file name is abc, and we are using nano editor to edit it. So let's create a bash script with the shebang line bin bash, and let's echo a simple message welcome and say our username. We can reference our environmental variable for our user like this with all capital, and let's save it with Ctrl S and Ctrl X. We need to give this file executable permissions with chmod. Then for all the users we give executable permission with X, and for this file, right? And then let's execute abc. Let's use the command sudo with chmod a plus x abc, and it will ask our password. We can give our sudo password, and then let's try abc again, and you can see it's not working because there's no such command, right? But if you use bash and abc, you can see it is outputting our command. So if we want to use this abc as a command, we need to add the path of this ABC's directory to our main path variable. So how we are going to do that? We are going to use nano editor and we are going to edit our bash rc and go to the bottom of the bash rc file, and you can see our exported values here. And at the end, we are creating a path variable and assigning it our current path variable, and we say append this new directory to our current main path variable, which is our home directory, right? You need to enter the directory where your abc bash file is stored. Okay, I'm going to save and exit, and if I say abc, it is not working, so we need to use source.bash rc command. And now if I say abc, you see it is outputting our results, which means now when I say abc, it will look if that directory added to the path variable, and if it is inside the path variable, it will execute this abc file inside this directory because it is added to the path variable, right? Okay, we can echo our path variable and let's try to find out latest added directory here. You can see our home directory is added. Okay, that's all about how to use environmental variables with Linux. And thank you for watching.